Barrow and Salford. And it could well be said, and has been backed this week by many, that whoever loses today, miracles excepting, will certainly see him doomed to second division rugby next season. Both clubs at this stage of the season are on 2 points, along with Featherstone, and thanks, I suppose, to a little good fortune that Leigh are pulling away, and Hull also on 8 and 7 points respectively from the bottom 3, which means that even 2 points today is only in fact catching hold of the lifeline, and there's certainly no guarantee of survival. Today's team: Salford, Steve Gibson, Steve Kerry on the wing, David Fell, Peter Williams in the centre, Adrian Hadley, Frank Cassidy, new signing at out half, David Kane, scrum half, Ian Sherratt, Mark Moran, Tony Rampling in the front row, Ian Bleasy and Blarney in the second row, and at loose forward Mark Big Carroll. In-form scrum half, Sean Brown on the bench with Andy Burgess. In barrows, Ian O'Neill, Ian Miller, Chris Johns, Mark Beckwith. Pat Trainer, Steve Maguire and Neil Shaw, the half-backs, Cavill Hugh, Paul Crary, Steve Clayton, Steve Burney, Gary Campbell, Russ Walker, with Phil Stott and Keith Pemberton on the bench. So it's Barrow receiving the ball, attempting to drive out, Salford getting very, very quickly to the tackle. It's a good, meaningful tackle there by Kevin Bushfield. And the ever-present and the tackling stakes, of course, McMahon. Salford keeping Barrow back in the 25, which is exactly where they want them. And that's another attempt thwarted by the Salford back three. The kick's in. It's coming. Gibson, who's certainly lost confidence of late, ticks down, and he'll be looking forward to taking his first tackle without any mishaps. So it's Salford spinning the ball to the left. Again, it's a one-man charge towards the halfway line. Moran rampling, referee not really keeping these sides very far apart. Referee for today's game is in fact Pat Crashley, and giving Salford very little room for manoeuvre. And it's a nice little break, and he switches it back inside. First touch of the ball. Very impressive little move by Frank Cassidy. Signed this week from neighbours Swinton. He's pushed one towards the touchline. He's a bit of misfortune, doesn't quite take it. The rest of his team do the business by following up the kick and putting the pressure back on Barrow very close to the line. And again, a crunching tackle. This time it's Tony Rampling who takes his man out. I think all the Salford's play so far had the ball, they've kept possession, they've pushed Barrow back. And Cassidy has already made one nice little break and an intelligent kick for touch. Kick's coming. It's a good one. It's an absolute belter. But the bounce unfortunately favours Gibson, who picks Barrow not particularly quick to the follow-up, giving Gibbo a little bit of space. He's taken it outside his 25 and he's done exactly what Coach Tamati would expect of him. Moran looking for the break down the middle. Barrow, of course, very reliant on teamwork. And it's probably very true to say that Ron Reddy, who came here in November '87, has had one heck of a job building up a team that's capable of maintaining its position in the first division and having very much to rely on local amateur talents, being so far out on a limb. And that's a beautiful Cassidy break. Cassidy puts it away. It's Adrian Hadley on the run. He's made the 25, used his strength, comes inside. Still Salford in possession. That was a beautiful break. Blease making the break, but it was Cassidy who was orchestrating the move. And there's another charging run feeding off Cassidy yet again. What an impressive start he's had this time. The charge for the line is on, it's flicked inside, and it's the first try, and it's a good try. It's a lovely ball out on the left. Close support play. And it's Tony Rampling, first try for the club. He'll be delighted with that, and certainly Salford hopefully on their way to collecting the 2 points this afternoon. minutes of this game gone, and Salford already in a 4-point lead. Up it goes, it's a successful one. Steve Carey, 15 yards in from the touchline, but they all count. A good kick. 6 points to 0 for Salford. So that's a splendid opening for Salford against this very young-looking Barrow outfit. Ball nicely taken, fed on for a run. But Cowden well held by second row man Gary Campbell. And again, this is the amateur philosophy. Hang on to that ball in your 22. Get away from your own line before you start playing it fancy and share it. In form again, still stealing ground. A brilliant run by Ian Sherritt. It took 3 men to put him to ground. Excellent forward play. Blees again. He's the man making the break. He gets it away. And it's on. Oh dear me, he's given a forward pass. I think the pass determining the scrum just inside the Salford half was by Ian Gormley, who probably just had to lean a little bit into the Barrow defence before he flicked that ball out, and Williams would certainly have streaked away and scored the second try of the afternoon. Barrow in, Barrow take. The half break by Steve Maguire, not good enough, short side used. Again this young second row man Steve Burney, newcomer to the Barrow side. And it's offside. He's not been bothering with that up to now, but this time he's decided to penalise. He's been certainly allowing both teams to encroach a little at play the ball. He's decided to alter the bond somewhat as referee Crashley in his first season in the big time, giving Steve Maguire the chance to open the account for Barrow. So just 6.5 minutes of the game gone. Can Maguire pull 2 points back? It can be no problem for goal kickers today. It takes a nice stud, that pitch. It's well grassed, perfect conditions, no wind. Kicking to the Salford support behind the Salford defensive line. He's got it high, and it looks straight to me. It's pretty high, it's pretty straight. It's certainly worth 2 points. The home supporters delighted with that. Nice strike. So Maguire reducing the arrears after 7 minutes to 6 points to 2. Barrow and Salford, of course, languishing at the bottom of the table with terrible defensive records of 379 and 328 points conceded. And already Barrow have had 60 points stuck against them twice by Wigan and St Helens. One of those, in fact, being last week's fixture. And I suppose the most insulting defeat of the season was the Lancashire Cup match when Oldham second division contenders came up here and scored 46 points. Can Gibbo get that ball away? But he can't, and there's a bit of slack tackling there. Gibbo was pretty well stationary, but it took several seconds for the Barrow team to get him down. Salford in possession, driving towards the half-rail line. Good smother by Paul Crary. This busy hooker. Cairns back on home soil for David Cairns. Makes this regular trip down to Salford for training. And that's a good kick. Beautifully weighted. delightful piece of rugby by Frank Cassidy. Play certainly centering round Frank Cassidy already, even at this early stage in the first 10 minutes. He's the one who seems to be making the moves. He's putting in the telling kicks, and he's carried the game this time 10 yards into the Barrow half. Neil Shaw feeds the back of his hooker's ankles, which seems to be the routine. Fullback joining the line. It's sloppy tackling. That was certainly a missed tackle by newcomer David Fell. I think there'll be an accusation that he was a little bit over the top with that one, Ian Blease. Touch judge Jackson quickly on the field to see that. There is an injury resulting just 10 yards inside the Barrow half, and Salford will retire as one and will undoubtedly be punished for that by this sure-footed Steve Maguire. Doesn't get it very far, but he makes certain. Takes another 20 yards out of Salford. Paul Crary to restart. Coming on at speed, showing second row man, Steve Burney. An unknown, come from Cumbria, I believe. And again, Salford getting in quickly and hard. Trying the switch, the ball's still available. It's flicked out, fullbacks joining the line, but an absolute cracking tackle. Barrow very slow to move that ball out to the right. Yeah, another who's a giant of a man. We haven't seen whether he can move a bit as yet. The kick's in, it comes backwards. It's going to be a lovely one for Salford. Ball still in play. Steve Kerry finishes the tackle. Turnover, first of the afternoon. David Cairns. And again, there wasn't the correct support for Cassidy there. He really had no option. It's better. Blease coming on at speed, making yardage every time is Blease this afternoon. It's 3 good runs he's had. Cassidy takes an absolutely crunching tackle. Gary Kendall and Ross Walker making themselves felt there. No progress being made. And again, that looks just too far. Unfortunate turnover for that infringement on the last tackle. And in fact, we've got Andy Burgess coming on the field, and it looks like Ian Gormley's suffering from so Andy Burgess on at 15. Ian Gormley taking a knock. It looks perhaps as if he's not quite sure where he is. It could all be concussion. It doesn't look muscular. It looks as if he's a little bit hazy about his bearings. So it's a chance for Andy Burgess, who's been playing so well in the A team. I think it's going to be a direct swap. Burgess into the second row. No, it's not. In fact, he's going at number 13. And the penalty this time. Barrow too eager to get down. So the penalty this time to Salford. So 14 minutes of this game gone. Salford still in the lead. 6 points to 2. Ball's run loose. Certainly can't afford to spill this ball today, Salford. They've got to concentrate. They've had 4 very, very good first halves. But in the last 4 fixtures, the second half blitz has let them down. Either fitness or lack of concentration or a touch of both has resulted in them conceding heavily in the second half performances recently. Leeds managed to knock in 24 in the second half. Oh dear, that's slack tackling. There should be a try. Here's the big another. He's powerful, but he's not fast enough to get away, and that was very, very sloppy tackling inside the Barrow half. Allowing Chris Johns to take 60 yards out of Salford. And an extremely positive run down the right. But another couldn't capitalise. And here's Gibbo. He's got a little bit of free space, but he runs back into this loose forward Russ Walker, who's a pretty sure tackler. He certainly has been so far. He's missed nothing. So it's Salford now looking to regain the yardage they've just given away by a bit of slack defence out on the left. Short side chosen. Charging run by Rampling. And that's a good delivery. And it's a nice little piece of work by Cassidy again. Cassidy's certainly the man who's opening this Barrow defence. Intelligent play. He turned nicely with the ball. Switched it with a short one to the right. And it's Salford back in Barrow territory, but unfortunately they've allowed possession to be lost at the turnover. Neil Shaw, the Barrow scrum half, working to try and release his big second row lads, but not having a lot of success yet. But there's another, he's through the gap. That was a nice little bit of linking up by Ian O'Neill, local lad. Ron Millam kicks in, it's charged down, and it's Salford, and it's this little man at out half again. Frank Cassidy, very, very impressive opening 20 minutes has this lad. Williams steps inside, looks for space down the middle, but no way past Russ Walker. Andy Burgess takes on the defence. Just 8 yards or so inside the Barrow half. Lees uses strength to keep in the field of play. Ball's run loose. First mistake. Salford out on that. There's a bit of kicking there, and I think it's been seen. It looked like Gary Kendall to me. Yes, it certainly was Gary Kendall having a little stamp at Frank Cassidy. Yeah, another coming in looking for work, but there's no joy out of the Salford defence. There's an overlap here if only they can use it. Fortunately, he ducked back inside to the very grateful arms of Andy Burgess. Left winger, big trainer. Kick coming, it's a high one this time. Steve Maguire hoists it. Steve Gibson had a more settled start today than he's had for a week or two. Minutes. So the kick favouring Salford. Salford coming back to the halfway line. Sherratt almost makes the break. Just held fractionally inside his own half. Nice switch again. It's Cassidy delivering a beautiful ball with a crunching tackle as Bird. Barrow in possession, slipped back inside, but Salford tackling is good and strong. Certainly Rampling going in hard. Cassidy almost made that ball available inside. Sherratt not quite in the right shop. He is this time. He's having a powerful game, is Ian Sherratt, and the ball's still available. Brooke Cowden picks the ball up, takes it into the Barrow half. Just 21 minutes of this game gone. Cassidy, it's hard, it's low, but it's bounced in Ian O'Neill's favour. The Reds are up to it, and again it's amazing how this man Rampling gets up there, first man. Absolute crunching tackle. Ball's available, and who's going to get it? Is Kerry. He isn't. The referee says play on. This little busy number 7 again. Neil Shaw picking it up for Barrow. Last meeting between these two teams was in fact in March '87 here at Craven Park, when Salford won the game 26 points to 20, and interesting to see the scorers on that day. Austin had 2 tries, David Major, Fletcher and McTighe scored tries, and that's man O'Shea managed 3 goals, so not many of that particular team out on the meadow this afternoon. And a little bit of interference, quite right, penalty to Salford. A little bit of interference there by Chris Johns. Let that play the ball. Peter Williams makes absolutely certain of that. I think he's wellied that over into the shipyards of Barrow somewhere. Running rather diagonally. He is the man again, the one that I've been most difficulty holding, Ian Sherratt. Oh, and it's a beauty. It's a little beauty. And he dives and takes that ball almost. That was a nice bit of intelligent thinking again by Frank Cassidy. Can't help feeling, even at this early stage, that it's money well spent by the Salford board. He's already shown enough inventiveness. So 24 minutes of the game gone. Still quite evenly balanced. It's only 6 points to 2. Cassidy's in again with a crunching tackle, ably assisted by Ian Sherratt. Up it goes. It's high from Steve Maguire, but it's to Steve Gibson, who's trying a crossfield run. He ducks back inside, takes the tackle, and no progress at all made. by the Salford fullback. Young Blease yet again driving out. He's having a strong game, is Blease, running wide. And the referee's allowed that to go on. That seemed a sort of obtuse decision to me. It looked as if Blease was held. The ball was knocked out of his hand, but the referee actually allowed play on. So it's now Barrow testing the Salford defence. A great charging run by this prop. Manages to get a good ball away to Steve Clayton. Another local lad from Walney Central. Gary Kendall takes a run at the line. Here he comes again. Cavill Hugh from Illawarra. Well, there was a lot of promise in that little effort by Steve Maguire, but his eye was on where the ball was going instead of being on the ball itself, and it's Ian Sherratt who plays beautifully to open this game up. He's giving Adrian Hadley the ball with a bit of space. This is unheard of, and he's been tackled by another, and he's obviously going to be penalised. But that's one of the first times I've seen Adrian Hadley fed with an early ball, giving him chance to open his legs out on that left wing. But he's not been penalised. In fact, it's a scrum down 10 yards inside the Salford half. Perhaps the forward pass was adjudged. Salford being stretched here. It's a nice bit of play. I can't help thinking if Barrow would have brought that ball out to this left-hand wing, they'd have done a little bit better in that situation. But they certainly allowed the Salford cover to close in, and Pat Traynor could make very little of the consequent ball. Nice tackle. So, 26 minutes. Still only one try being scored, 6 points to 2. Salford's advantage. That's a good ball. And again, it's that little scrum half making the ball available for his centre, Mark Beckwith. The home crowd getting a little bit disappointed that Barrow are not capitalising on this advantage of possession they've had in the last few minutes. But it was a nice kick, left footer, hard and low, scrum down something like 10-15 yards from the Salford line. So 27 minutes of the game gone. Salford take from the scrum. And again, this will be one-man rugby until we get out to this 25, I think. Cairns gives it the big man makes it available, and Brooke Cowden sends Steve Gibson scurrying over the 25. And Rampling decides to try and drive his man away, and it's this little out half again, Cassidy. I think he could have got the ball away there. Opted to try and make a little break of his own out on this right-hand side. It's a long ball, and it's not very productive, but the ball's been lost. And a scrappy little interlude here, ball going from one team to the other. Crary has to burrow his way through. Cavill. That's a good delivery, and the ball's still available. There's a nice bit of overlapping. Flips it back inside. That was a nice, intelligent piece of intervention by Steve Burney. He got another away, but he didn't have the speed. It's a nice kick, and it's well taken by Burgess. Nice bit of cleaning up. And the ball's been knocked on, would you believe? And it's going to be a scrum down. Barrow to feed, right under the Salford sticks. So yet again, little errors, putting full pressure back onto the Reds, clinging at this moment onto a 4-point lead. Fortunately for Salford, it's Barrow moving backwards with Neil Shaw having nowhere to go but back towards his own line. So Salford breathe again. They've a 20-yard corridor now between the ball and their own try line, which they'll hopefully defend effectively for this run of plays. That lad's a bit sharp. Number 3's very sharp. Chris Johns certainly has goes up a gear quite nicely when he sees a gap. The ball's back inside. There's a charge on the line, but it's the last player. What can Barrow do? They're 4 points behind. It's kicked through and it's dropped. Would you believe it is dropped? And it's knocked on, thankfully, but this time it was Tony Rampling who dropped that. So all the pressure that Salford are being subjected to is self-inflicted. And Barrow's certainly beginning to look more confident the longer this game goes on. Sherritt turns, makes it available, and this time it's a good run by Rampling, and with men available, brilliantly picked up by Fell, and is he going to score? He's got the line to himself, he flicks it back inside, very intelligent. Williams have been obstructed, brilliant run by Fell. Fellow rugby union star Steve Carey out on the right, comes in and picks that ball up, diagonal run to the post. And certainly I think there'd have been a penalty to Salford had that not been successfully finished off by Steve Carey, because Peter Williams had been obstructed savagely as he was hoping to join in on that delightful break by David Fell. But that's all credit, quick hands, quick thinking, good support play, brilliant pick-up by David Fell. The ball couldn't have been more than 3 inches above the floor when he picked it up and kept that move going, and Steve Carey should make this a comfortable 10-point lead, 12 points to 2, and he does hoist it over the stand for his second of the afternoon. So what a safe pair of hands this new signing David Fell has in a back line of what is ostensibly ex-rugby union players, Carey, Fell, Williams and Hadley. But it certainly came together nicely there for that second try of the afternoon. So 32 minutes of the game gone. It's 12 points to 2. Salford, hopefully now with a little bit of a cushion, will settle down and keep playing good protected rugby. And they've certainly got the pace and the power to score points today. That was a crunching tackle. He's taken 2 absolute belting tackles from Russ Walker, as Frank Cassidy. His resilience has already been tested, and it doesn't seem to affect him in the slightest. He's up and back in the game immediately. Gibbo hoists one. At least it's found space. It's a bit of a reluctance on the Barrow defence to pick that one up. Ian O'Neill does it. But again, it's the Salford front row in the form of Ian Sherritt, ably assisted by Brooke Cowden, who get there first. And Sherritt's in yet again. Steve Clayton, ex-Walney Island. Switch to the right, the ball's been lost, and it's going to be a knock-on. Just 10 yards inside the Barrow half. Salford should take this and hopefully make capital of this position 10 yards inside the Barrow half. David Cairns switches. It's David fell yet again, but not many men gone past this number 13 today. Russ Walker, Andy Burgess. Salford's still on the line of scrummage. Choose the short side. Rampling drives his shoulder hard into Steve Maguire, but the tattle. Cassidy switches it back, and it's another 6. It's another 6. Fell sensibly, comes inside. It's another 6 for Salford. Cairns switches this time. Rampling drops the ball. Number 7 Neil Shaw picks it up, and yet again we're into a sloppy little interlude. Both sides failing to control this ball, seemingly a little too eager to keep the game going. Just a touch of composure necessary, I think, in both squads to make the most out of the possession they've had. But nice tattle. "36 minutes gone." That one hoisted, and it looks as if it could be a good one if he gets the bounce. He hasn't got the bounce. And Gibbo going backwards. That was well played. That was a good kick. Put the pressure back on Salford, and the clock stopped. So Steve Gibson receiving a little bit of loving care. Yep. Walking wounded, back in business. Ian Sherratt plunges his way towards the 25, and this one Salford must control. What they haven't done, it's a scrum down. These are vital areas of the pitch where Salford seem to allow the game to break down. And just before half-time, Barrow get possession from this scrum and swing it out left, and this is that little lad again. And a nice little bit of rugby. But these two centres, Chris Johns and Mark Beckwith, quite pacey. Should be no problems here. There's plenty of Salford cover, but it is still Barrow testing Salford. Switch back inside, and Hugh almost breaking through there. Little kick for the line, but nicely taken. But yet again, in the last 2 minutes, Salford have put themselves under pressure by letting the ball break down over on the left-hand side, losing the scrum. And the result is they're still only 4 or 5 yards from their own line, fortunately in possession. It's true to say that Barrow have come back into this game, and with the exception of that lovely piece of rugby that resulted in the Kerry try, Salford capitalising on broken play, and a lovely piece of handling by David Fell. Barrow have certainly made an impression in this last 20 minutes. There should be no more scoring this half. It's 12 points to 2. Salford in the lead. It's a nice 10-point cushion. Barrow in possession. And the half quickly running out. On my watch, we're already on 40 minutes. But there has been a couple of very short stoppages. And Barrow. Nice switch inside. And it's a knock-on, fortunately for Salford. It was a nice break by Gary Kendall. But his inside ball was grounded, and the scrum down should give Salford the ball and see the first half out. A good job, Hadley has good hands, and he's outpacing his man, but no, he catches him. And there is the half-time hooter, in fact. Adrian Hadley goes off at half-time in possession. A nice cushion, a 10-point cushion for Salford. And it certainly looks as if at this stage they should be taking home the 2 points this afternoon. With a 10-point cushion, 12 points to 2. And I think we can certainly say that in the first half the defence has held firm, which of course Kevin Tamati will be quite delighted with. And Salford only made 2 visits into the Barrow 25 in the first half, and both times they scored. So that's some compensation, at least. The work rate's been quite high, and the forwards are slowly creating a platform. And if only the gaps can be created, then Salford have shown that they've got the speed and creativity in the backs to punish this Barrow defence. So it's Barrow back in possession. A lovely deep kick, putting the pressure back on the Barrow. It's good, hard tackle. Short side. In comes number 10, Steve Clayton, but he's pushed back. This is the sort of tackling we want to see from Salford. Lost fully 6 yards in that tackle. And Cavalier. Nowhere to go, the ball goes back. It's a long kick by Steve Maguire, who certainly kept Barrow in the game territorially in the first half. And Gibbo again, I'm having another nightmare, I'm afraid. The blue and whites got up on him very, very quickly. It was a great steepling kick from this out half, Steve Maguire. And it puts Salford back under pressure, deep within their own 25. And indeed, the ball's been stolen. Dangerous time. Barrow throwing this ball about, and it's Williams who manages to pick up the bits there. Mark Beckwith dropping that ball, and this could be, and it's a nice switch inside. The support's there. But yet again, Salford failing to make full use of what was a lovely break. Ian Sherritt. It's a lone charge by Rampling. The halfway line. And that looks like a nicely weighted kick. It could be too strong. It is, in fact, just fractionally too strong. The idea was right. The weighting just a little bit overbaked. So it's scrum down on the halfway line. Now, I have sat with me this afternoon for the second half David Needham, who played such an important part in the recent 18 match against Halifax, where the A team had another convincing win, 39 points to 16. How do you see the game, very briefly, David, at this stage?
Actually, it's a very close game, but Salford have got to get into it. They've got to get the wide runs off Frank Cassidy. His front row working really well, dragging them in. So, as I say, he's not getting the runs out wide just yet.
And the ball's back with Barrow, spinning it out to the left. And it's offside. So it's nicely away, Cassidy. Not quite fast enough to make that break cleanly. Andy Burgess takes the tackle. Ian Blease. That's well delivered. It's a beautiful ball from number 13, Brooke Cowden. But I think he's given a forward pass. It didn't look forward to me, but there we are. I'm not quite in the best position to see that. But then again, neither was referee Crashley, who was some 7 yards away from the play. And it's a penalty this time to Salford. So the game should be taken back into the Barrow half. There's 7 minutes of the second half gone. 12 points to 2. Sherratt on the charge. Characteristic spin in the tackle, takes him another 2 yards. Decides to hoist one. It's a free-for-all. It's back with Salford. And it's another 6. And that must be a penalty, referee, but he's decided to scrum down. That looked as if it was pushed from his hand. So the scrum down just 6 or 7 yards outside the Barrow 25. Again, this fullback, Ian O'Neill, linking up intelligently. Couldn't quite find the space that time. And that's a better tackle. That's Salford driving the men back. And this time it's a Barrow mistake. Kane's there sweeping up. The ball's gone inside. It's a nice piece of rugby. Cassidy switches the direction of play. He could well have kept the left wing open, I think, there. But he did probably see that it was pretty well covered by Barrow defenders. And that one was certainly going nowhere. And the ball's been lost yet again. It's a scrum down. Peter Williams very annoyed with himself. And certainly the lack of confidence still showing in one or two players. And that's a flick back inside, but he's filled. And the knock-on is about to begin. What is, David, the sort of professional view on that? We can see one or two players even today who, because they've had a lot of heavy defeats, it's very, very difficult to pick yourself up and pull back the confidence.
personally, I think the confidence today is there. It's just the mistakes, when they get the mistakes, some of the lads are holding their hands up saying it's my fault, I accept responsibility for that, and they're getting back into the game. I think today will be the turning point.
Certainly hope you're right. Certainly doing the business so far. We've played most of the second half in the Barrow half. The pressure's being kept on, and if the ball can be moved out wide, I'm quite sure we should get 1 or 2 tries before the end of the match. Still 12 points to 2. That's an excellent tackle. Rampling in, knocks his man down. He's certainly making these tackles felt today, is Tony Rampling. Which is, of course, why he's been brought here. At the same time, it looks as if he's hurt his arm. That was a nice miss. Well taken. Very good hands out there. Pat Trainer on the left wing did well to take that ball. This time it's Salford too eager to get into the scrum. It's penalty to Barrow. Not too sure what he's going to do, but I'm sure he's going to try and take yardage out of Salford, push this game back towards the Salford line. So Barrow in possession. That's a nice switch to the short side, and again it's a good tackle out on the right. Steve Carey pushes his man into touch, but there does look to have been some sort of incident. Not quite sure what it was, but touch judge Mr. Jackson was on very, very quickly, and I think he wants to have a word with one of the Salford players following that incident that was probably off the ball, and nobody seems quite sure who it is. It looks like Ian Sherritt. Now the A-team, David, have had a very, very good run recently. Are we in a position where we've got strength in depth at last?
Yeah, that's we see the opening game of another standoff that I've got to try and displace. He's having quite a good opening game, but obviously it takes a long time for a standoff to settle into a new team. He's got to call the shots, so I just hope we can carry on the way we are, the A-team.
Had some good successes, lost twice closely to very good opposition, and here's Barrow burrowing the way towards the line. They seem to be relying on one-man rugby because they're lacking any sort of coordinated effort. They've some sort of plan up the sleeve here, but it's not going to be successful as Steve Clayton fails to cross the line. And here's another one, but this time he's in. No, he's not. He's lost the ball, and Salford retrieve. That looked like Ian Blease to me. It's Brooke Cowden, in fact. And Blease trying to take more yards out. He almost gets back to his feet, but this time it's Sherritt. Just giving enough yardage to move this ball a little. They're almost back to the 25. But in all fairness to Barrow, they're doing the business, keeping Salford very tight. Williams hoists that one. Nicely taken by Ian O'Neill, but who is it? Yet again, it's that man Rampling who's up to make the tackle on the halfway line. big right winger in for a run. As you saw the opening there, and this could be dangerous. Fortunately, they don't seem to be aware of the fact that they have the ball. The result is they've moved back some 10 yards despite having possession, and they could well have done something out on this right wing had they been quick enough to capitalise. And it looks like another 6. Andy Burgess completing the tackle. And it's a long one, there's men there, but that's a bad ball. And Barrow lose at least 10 yards on that move. Nice piece of play by Cavill there. Just moved back inside his man to create a little bit of space. The kick's in. Fortunately, it's not the best kick in the world, but it's going to put pressure on Salford. This time Gibbo's found space on the right, but he hasn't made an awful lot of yardage as a result. But at least he's cleared the immediate danger. Ian Sherratt again, working hard up front. Lost. So Barrow back in the driving seat again. Salford paying for the mistakes, struggling inside their own 25, and they've gone offside. Ian Blease. Referee Crashley has been very lax with this offside. He's not been keeping these teams apart. It's a charging run by number 2. They must think he's big enough to make it. And again, we're having one of these diagonal moves. The ball's lost. Gibbo back in possession. So Barrow yet again, and he's going through this time. Jinks back inside, but there's enough cover to see that that move is stifled way out on the left-hand touchline. Again, it's Barrow in possession. Could this be an interception? It's not. Number 2 take. He's got some speed, and he's in touch. But that was hard luck indeed. And yet again, Salford putting themselves under pressure. Cairns in, Cairns takes. Adrian Hadley. Blease makes it successful push ball to Moran. Yeah, the first time we've been outside the 25 for quite some time, David.
It is, their possession is coming off our mistakes, which is, we've got to cut that out, and then perhaps we can get into this game and wrap it up.
Can't help endorsing those sentiments, and this time Salford take advantage of the kick by pushing the game 65, 70 yards back towards the Barrow line. And this is where Salford have to keep the game. Close Barrow down, keep them up here and take advantage of the next play. He's had a strong game, that left centre, Mark Beckwith. And it's the last tattle. Ball coming deep. Maguire belts it clean out, I think. Ball taken back. See what Salford can actually do with this situation. 10 yards inside the Barrow half. Short side selected. Sherratt plunges in. It's a better run. The referee, despite the fact that ball came back, has decided it's a knock-on, and the scrum is giving Barrow the chance to bring on Keith Pemberton for Steve Burney. So that was a rather nice one. Andy Burgess takes from the scrum, runs round, makes 10 yards. But still the breaks, very elusive to find for Salford. Short side. Cassidy, Kearns, little switch inside for Ian Sherratt, but the ball's closed down. So yet again, Salford on the last, and it's hoisted this time, it's high. We could take the bits out of that, but it's well recovered out on the left by Barrow. But the kick was certainly nicely weighted. And this is exactly where Salford need to be playing this second half. Looks as if we're going to have another substitution for Barrow as Phil Stott warms up on the touchline. It's been charged down, and it's another 6. Charged down. Barrow in possession. As Barrow take the game back towards the halfway line. Gibson takes the game outside the 25. Moran straightening up down the middle. Brooke Cowden. There's Cassidy looking for the touchline. This time it's successful. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. So the pressure now back on Barrow, deep inside their own half, as number 14 Phil Stott comes onto the field, and it does look as if number 7 Neil Shaw is about to leave the field. And it does look as if we're having to wait for Phil Stott to get in position. Shaw seems unsure as to why he's been brought off. He doesn't look injured. But perhaps it's going to be a pair of new legs later on in the game with barely a quarter of an hour left. Well, we seem to have contained them a little better, David, don't we? We've kept them in their own half in the last 10 minutes.
One of the pleasing points for Salford is the way the front row's performing. They're all hunting as a pack and all wanting to get in there for the tackle. There's 2 and 3 there every time.
Get hold of him! Right. Pick him up and put him in.
And it certainly paid off, because the territorially, Salford have certainly managed to keep it. And that's another steepler. It's a good one, but it's right down Gibbo's throat. And he accelerates through the gap. That's the nearest he's got to getting loose. But the game just 10 yards from the halfway line. There's hardly any chance of that ball getting away. Insherritt did well to take it and hang on to it. Cairns, short sides, looking for a space, but well shepherded by number 9, Paul Crary. Andy Burgess looks for the little kick through, a little bit ambitious, but he could well have managed to benefit from that. And it's Adrian Hadley, pushes off one, tries to push off another, and it's Phil Stott who in the end brings him to ground. A little bit of good fortune, and it's a try. It's a try. Well done, Andy Burgess. He was ambitious enough to try to push that ball through along the floor in the first instance. Salford a little bit fortunate to pick up the pieces following the kick, and I think, David, that's probably the try that sealed this game.
I'm hoping so, yeah. They're playing a lot better now in this last 5 minutes. I think Andy Burgess shows he is a quick thinking player, and he can pull it out of the bag. He's definitely one for the future.
So that's Andy Burgess on the score sheet. Nice bit of intelligent thinking. He saw the space midfield, put the ball into it, and you always need a bit of good fortune to put this game now well out of reach as far as Barrow are concerned. That's a beautiful kick, and Steve Carey knocks over his third. Couldn't ask for better. So with just 10 minutes of this game remaining, Steve Carey converts the third try to open the gap to 18 points to 2. So the signs are, at this stage in the game, that Barrow are looking favourites most definitely for relegation, and the club history is about to continue this seesaw existence that they have had since 1983. Relegated in 83, promoted again 84, relegated 85, went up with Leigh in 86, relegated 87, and last season came up into the first division yet again with Leigh, and it does look as if they are in fact on their way back down to the second division. But here they are on the line, driving in, looking for points. And the defence is holding out. Carroll Yu just held up 2 yards short. And Salford quickly closing this Barrow team down. And he's almost there yet again. Good effort by Gary Kendall. but no way through. And the ball's almost lost. And it's the last one. Can Barrow get a consolation prize? Little try, and they can't, and in fact Salford are going to capitalise and make the break, but it's a knock-on. Yes, I'm quite sure referee Crashler was right there was a knock-on. The Salford following, hoping he'd not quite seen that, giving Steve Kerry a free run down the field, but it's a scrum down, just 10 yards from the Salford line. Salford 18 points to 2 in the lead, and there's another scrum. And this time Salford should consolidate from this deep position. Certainly the other problem we've had recently, David, has been concentration for 80 minutes. Now I think we've done a little bit better today. What do you think?
I think so, yeah. Coach Kevin Tomat is going to be really pleased with the tackling. There was times earlier on when we was doing 6, 12, 18 tackles in a row. And they've done it.
And he's away. It's nicely fouled. Puts his right winger away. Steve Kerry steps inside. It's a beautiful try. The whole length of the field, an absolute blinder. Absolute blinder. The break was made. Tony Rampling picked it up just inside his own half, made the break. Some intelligent running by Fell. Off to Kerry, stepped inside his man and sprinted 40 yards or so to the line. And that is most certainly the final nail in the Barrow coffin, and there's certainly a sigh of relief around this ground, and I'm certain there's a great sigh of relief out on the pitch. Hold it tight at the back, score 4 good tries, points away from home, essential points, and there's certainly no way that this game is going to disappear from Salford. So Kerry picks up his second try and his 4th successful kick at goal. And it's 24 points to 2 with some 5 minutes of this game remaining. And again the referee just not keeping these teams apart at all. There were 3 or 4 Barrow players well in front of the referee. Switch it out, so nice the time ball. Again it's Kerry who's away, he switches it on the outside. It's Rampling charging up this right wing. And the confidence is flowing now. Salford whizzing this ball around. Ian Shearer almost brushing the opposition aside. Short side. Ian Blease looking as if he wants to make another try before this game's over. And the ball's going, and dear me, he's given knock-on. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. Just cannot believe that. The ball was ripped. It came back towards the Salford line, and referee Crashley has decided a scrum down 10 yards inside the Barrow half is what he wants, so that's what he's having. So just 3.5 minutes of this game remaining. Salford comfortably cushioned with the 22-point lead. And that's a nice break. It's a lovely break. The kick goes in, it strikes Gibson. Gibson's quick to recover. As was, again, dare I say it, this Tony Rampling, but for a prop forward he covers some ground, David, doesn't he?
Hey, he's like that in training all the time. He's a real fit lad. It shows in his tackling and his busts.
Well, it's certainly what Salford need, and they're going to need for the rest of this season. He must be first to the kick so regularly. I'd love to see the stat sheet, but every time the kick goes up, it's Rampling who's up there making the tattle. That's nicely taken by David Kearns. It bounced awkwardly, sweeping up behind his line. Nicely there, David. This time the penalty is given to Salford for stealing after the tattle. So Peter Williams spirals that one into touch.
Come on, let's have another. Go on.
13, ref. 15, I mean.
Come on, linesman.
Oh, and the gap's there, and Rampling's got Adrian Adley. He's going to score. Adrian Adley's no problem. It's a good try. And for once we've seen Adrian Adley given some sort of a gap to go through, but again it was that man Tony Rampling who made the burst. He broke through just inside his own half, carried it 15 yards or so. He had Adrian Adley who'd wandered inside looking for that situation, who showed another, the barrow number 2, a clean pair of heels for a 40-yard sprint to the line. I think that's a good decision actually for Barrow, because he's worked very hard. The man of the match for Barrow has been decided on Russ Walker. Now Steve Carey taps on another 2 to make it 30 points to 2. Comfortable victory. What about man of the match, David, for Salford? What do you think?
I would say definitely Tony Rampling. His tackling and work rate, commitment, the aggression in the tackling. You know, he's really led the forwards well.
Couldn't agree more. I was quite certain you were going to say that. Outstanding game. Tremendous work rate. I'm quite certain he'll be top of the tattle count. And he's made the important bursts down the middle of the park. And even as late as the 88th minute, he had the energy to thunder through the middle to create that last try for Adrian Adley. So again, Salford taking the game to Barrow. Ian Blease shouldering. Ball lost. Adley about to take his man over the touchline. It's a scrum down. And you can't really blame the right winger. He got 4 men who had absolutely decided he was going over the touchline, and that was that. So we're playing out this game now. Salford, a little run around. Cassidy, quite a second half, but done enough to make me feel that we've got a useful squad member in Frank Cassidy. Competition for places now, David, do you think?
Well, it's always good for the club, isn't it? And Frank's a very good player. I've played against him a few times when he was at Swinton, you know, and he can, he's a bit of class. He can pull it out.
So Barrow take, but it's a nice, quick thinking David Kearns up to do the tattle. We must be in the dying seconds. It's over 40 minutes on my watch. Salford resting quite comfortably now on a 30 points to 2 lead. Never the confidence to steal that ball Set Cassidy away. Cassidy to Kerry. Kerry's put the kick in. He's been obstructed. He's been obstructed, but the referee says no. He was most certainly obstructed there. And this is good aggressive tackling, even at this late stage. 89 minutes at least gone. I certainly make it. 79 minutes rather. I certainly make it at least 80. But Salford's still fiercely into the tattle. Oh, it's stood up nicely for Gibbo. Sells an outrageous dummy, but he doesn't get any further. Andy Burgess, nowhere to go, just getting a little bit lost. He's rampling yet again, my goodness me. He's burst free, a brilliant break, and Gibble's not going to be stopped. He's holding it, and over he goes. It's a lovely try, and it's in the right place. It's behind the sticks. There should be no problem with the conversion. 36 points to 2, and I'm quite sure that's going to be the last score, because there's hardly any time. And there it is, it's 40 minutes before you go, David. The lads are going to be feeling absolutely delighted. The beer's going to go down well. That dressing room's going to be happy. Is this the turning point?
This is definitely the turning point. It happened a few years ago. This was the turning point at Barrow, and it's going to happen again.
Hopefully, David. Thanks very much for your help. So it's a convincing win. It's 36 points to 2, and everybody in Salford tonight will certainly hope and feel that the turning point has been made here at Craven Park.
This Salford Rugby League video is sponsored by Melrose of Monton, your local insurance specialists. If you have an insurance requirement, why not give Melrose a call? With a fully computerised office system, Melrose can give you a competitive quotation on your motor insurance. Melrose can also offer you cover on accident, sickness, property, commercial, plus general life and pensions. With friendly and helpful staff, Monton can service all your insurance needs. Remember, Melrose of Monton for all your insurance requirements.
Goes off at half-time in possession.